What's up, gamers? You got TigerChainsaw, and we have done it. We have reached the end of my Onimusha reviews, because today I'm reviewing the last Onimusha game that was ever released, until the new one gets released in about a year or so. But this is going to be my review of Onimusha Dawn of Dreams. Now, right from the start, it felt pretty different compared to the mainline trilogy of the Onimusha games that were on the PS2. This one right here, I did not have in my childhood, and I got it a couple years ago, and I just had to play it because I loved the original trilogy so much. But this one, it just was pretty different in numerous ways, but let me get into that with the review. Now, if you are a first-time viewer, or if you just haven't yet, make sure you hit that sub button because I've got tons of video game content on my channel. I've got tons of video game reviews that I've already done, from modern to retro video games, and I would love it if you would help my channel grow by subscribing. All right, viewers, let's head back to the Onimusha universe one last time with this review of Onimusha Dawn of Dreams. The original Onimusha trilogy is held in high regard by almost every gamer. It combined horror, Japanese history, and beautiful combat to complete a unique and addicting series. In 2006, Capcom developed and published Onimusha Dawn of Dreams, a continuation of the universe, but set 15 years later after Onimusha 3. Now, Onimusha is one of my favorite series, but Dawn of Dreams felt different right from the start. Would it be the best game in the series? Or would it be the stepchild of the series and raise some eyebrows into the decisions that Capcom made? Let's dive into this Onimusha Dawn of Dreams review, starting with the plot, but be warned, spoilers are ahead. It's been 15 years since the defeat of Nobunaga at the hands of Samanosuke. Japan has been united briefly under the leadership of a man named Hideyoshi, who was previously a commander for Nobunaga. But peace can only last so long. Genma begin to reappear as a giant star approaches Earth. The star is known as the Omen Star, and it's caused tons of natural disasters to ravage Asia. Now, this leader that I talked about, Hideyoshi, becomes consumed by the Omen Star's power, but his son Soki refuses to be part of the Genma army and rebels against his father. Hideyoshi begins to plant Genma trees across all of Asia. These trees give birth to Genma, allowing Hideyoshi's army to grow and capture more cities. Soki does his best to burn these mammoth trees, but he just can't keep up. He teams up with a very strange creature that I can only describe as a man-baby. If you've played the previous entries in the Onimusha series, this is the same creature that allows you to enter the demon realm, as he hangs upside down in certain areas. Anyway, this man-baby is named Minokichi and is pretty annoying, and he comes off more like a baby than a helpful companion. Anyway, he constantly whines or cries and said a lot of awkward things during my playthrough of Dawn of Dreams. He even pisses himself. Needing more help, Soki recruits the help of Jubei. No, not that one from Onimusha 2. This Jubei is the granddaughter of Jubei from Onimusha 2 and has taken the family name up in defeating the new Genma threat. She has a demon eye, and she is quite the nimble ninja. She is set on defeating a traitor from her clan after her grandfather instructs her to complete the mission. Now, after discovering the source of the Genma trees, Soki runs into his childhood friend and crush, Ohatsu. She's a gun-wielding woman who clearly has feelings for Soki, but was forced into a marriage to another man. She does reveal some secrets to Soki about the Genma invasion, but is forced to abide by Muninori, who was Jubei's clan's traitor. I know, it's a lot to keep up, but just stay with me. It turns out he poisoned her with the Genma and holds her life at his whim if she doesn't obey his orders. Ohatsu, under the influence of the Genma, tries to fight Soki, where he defeats her in battle, but the poison courses through her veins. Soki goes into the demon realm to find a cure and barely escapes with his own life. Once Ohatsu is cured, she joins Soki and Jubei in the fight against the Genma. Jubei and Ohatsu both have crushes on Soki, and sometimes they both flirt with him, or on occasion they do make jealous comments about each other. Women, am I right? Soki and his crew run into a white-haired mysterious monk who has been searching for the Black Oni for quite some time. This Black Oni is actually Soki, as he has the demon powers, and he's been prophesized as the one who will bring down the Omen Star. This monk named Nankobu, he looks a little bit familiar, joins up with Soki and the rest of the gang as his goal is to save the land from the Genma. But we are not done with the characters just yet. The group runs into a man named Roberto Froyas, who is a heavy hitter with his fists of steel. Now I'll pause for a second because I want to recognize that Roberto Froyas is a Christian missionary. Most Christians portrayed in video games are those who are involved in cults or extreme groups. Roberto was actually crafted as a well-rounded and humble man, and that's kind of a rarity to see Christian characters designed like that in games. It was kind of refreshing not to see the crazy Christian trope. Anyway, Roberto is stubborn at first, but he wants revenge on a former friend who has turned to the Genma. He decides to help serve Soki and the others after they rescue him. The team discovers that there is a dark stone that is giving power to Hideyoshi, and they set out to destroy it. With the powerful fists of Roberto, the stone is destroyed while the others encounter Claudius, a powerful Genma who tells them that the Omen Star will revive the Genma god once it reaches Earth and set a new era of the Genma upon the land. After destroying a second Dark Stone that is the power to the Genma, the group has 6 days to reach Kyoto before the star arrives, which is pretty much an impossible task. Minokichi does perhaps the only useful thing in the game that he's capable of and transports the group closer to Kyoto to save the world, but the process kills him. His sacrifice allows them to continue toward their mission of stopping the Genma. Alright, I promise I'm almost done. As Soki and the group closes in on Hideyoshi, each member of the group splits off to face their personal plot point in the game. Soki reaches Hideyoshi, who is planning to be the vessel for the Genma god. Defeating his father, Hideyoshi has the Genma seed ripped from his body, killing him in the process. The seed goes around like a hot potato before it is finally used, releasing Fortinbras, the Genma god. Remember him from Onimusha 1? Well, recognizing that this is Soki's fight, Nankobu gives him his Oni gauntlet and confirms what everyone else already thought. Nankobu is Samanosuke from the original trilogy. Soki goes into an epic battle against Fortinbras, and after defeating him, sacrifices himself to destroy the remaining Genma trees around the world. In the credits, characters from the group are seen living normal lives again. Hey returning viewers, do you remember how I started each Onimusha gameplay segment of my previous reviews by showcasing the amazing intro videos that each game had? Well, I'm not going to do that with Onimusha Dawn of Dreams because there really isn't a sweet intro video to show, which I was already pretty disappointed by. Heading to the gameplay, I was pretty surprised at some of the aspects. There was a formula for the first 3 in the series, and this formula worked. Onimusha Dawn of Dreams really veers off this path and offers something different. Instead of giving the player the ability to explore areas on their own, the game pushes the player in a more linear path through chapters that are levels. These levels last anywhere from 10 to 20 minutes, and the formula is a simple one. Kill all the enemies in the area, rescue a person or solve a puzzle, make your way through the area picking up useful items, and then fight the boss at the end of the stage. It's a familiar formula in gaming, but the previous entries allowed the player to explore more on their own and discover what the next move was. Onimusha Dawn of Dreams pushes the player in the direction that they need to go instead of a natural progression. Despite Onimusha Dawn of Dreams being the 4th game in the series, it arguably looks the worst. It just feels cheap from the graphics, character design, and how the story is told. There are a few cutscenes, but the majority of the dialogue is told through cheap interactions with characters. When the characters speak, their mouths don't even move. I was disappointed at this cheap feeling during my playthrough. To me, the whole experience of Onimusha Dawn of Dreams, it felt like a B-level movie. It just didn't feel like there was a budget there for the marketing, the graphics, and the gameplay. It was kind of cheap. I do gotta say, there was also some extremely enthusiastic movements of body parts during these interactions of the characters talking to each other, which led to some very comical moments. The camera angle is another gripe that I have. Maybe I'm in the minority, but I prefer fixed camera angles in my Capcom games. You get full control of the camera, but it became more of a hassle to adjust it, especially during the combat. You are constantly spinning the camera to view your surroundings, whereas earlier entries had an overhead single camera angle that gave players a view of the area. Once you complete a level, you are typically transported to a hub area where you can save, talk to other characters, craft items, and enter the demon realm for training or treasure hunting. I didn't mind this aspect during my playthrough. In fact, I liked the ability to talk to other characters and discuss why they were fighting the demons, hearing their history, or their input on our adventure. Now, the soundtrack didn't seem to fit the game either. Usually, I only notice the soundtrack if it's extremely well done or poorly crafted. Unfortunately for my Onimusha Dawn of Dreams review, it was a poor choice. It was a weird techno mix for some parts of the game that really pulled me away from the feeling of being in ancient Japan. The combat is unique compared to the other Onimusha games, where you will almost always have a partner. You can choose your partner before you play the level, but there are areas where you will have to choose a certain person who has a special ability. There are doors that need to be destroyed, explosions that need to be set off, and little entryways that are too small for the others. All of these things will require you to bring a specific character along to get past that area. I think in that aspect, the game did a good job of forcing you to use all of your partners. You can play as either Soki or your partner, and you can command the other by inputting a simple style of play. You can have your partner be aggressive, mimic your movements, defend themselves, or hang back while you take care of the enemy. There were instances where I chose all 4 styles, but I mainly just had them mimic my movements. You can also level them up with experience, but you'll gain experience with them regardless of whether you use them or not, which was welcomed. I didn't want to have someone sitting on the sidelines and then bringing them out for 5 minutes and have them be completely useless in combat. I was able to accumulate experience with them whether they fought or not. Upgrading weapons was not as important in this entry of the Onimusha series. Before, you'd find 3 to 4 weapons and slowly upgrade the power and magic behind them. In Onimusha Dawn of Dreams, the focus is on skills and combos. You'll be able to upgrade a forceful kick or a certain type of sword attacks like swing or counter. It will also unlock combo moves when you put the experience into an attack. All the characters have a unique fighting style, and it's best to master all the styles because of the ending. Hey, do you like boss fights? Great! You are going to love the ending of Onimusha Dawn of Dreams. You're going to be playing a ridiculous amount at the end of the game. I love boss fights, and even I thought the end was ridiculous. As stated in the plot section, the team makes their way toward the final confrontation and they slowly split off on their own. One member will stay behind and fight their final boss. This all sounds cool, and it is to a degree, but it's also tiresome. Soki needs to get to the final battle against Hideyoshi and the Genma, so your team will do everything in their power to get Soki there. This means branching off and defeating large bosses who are attacking the group. For each character, you'll need to master their combat. I saved up tons and tons of medicine and magic power-ups for the final battle, and it really helped when I needed it. Once Soki finally reaches the end, he will face, get this, 9 bosses in a row. Yes, you heard me correctly. It was an insane amount of combat, and I was frustrated by all the false endings. After defeating numerous bosses, the game will act like you did it. You beat the finale. Just for the boss to regrow or some dumb revival where they are even more powerful. It took me 2 or 3 times to defeat the 9 bosses. When I finally defeated them all, I could barely believe it. Sometimes the end of a game doesn't need to be that complicated, and Onimusha Dawn of Dreams really pushed it. Overall, while the combat and gameplay during my playthrough were adequate, the whole vibe of the game just felt off compared to the rest of the series. If the title of Onimusha wasn't attached, I may have enjoyed it a little bit more. I think the game does some good things, but it veered off the path a little bit too much for my taste, and it did it all cheaply. From start to finish, Onimusha Dawn of Dreams felt like a budget playthrough. If the name Onimusha wasn't attached to this game, it would have scored a little bit higher, but certain franchises are held to high standards, and Onimusha, to me, is one of them. Dawn of Dreams feels cheap in just about every way. Besides the outdated graphics, poor character dialogue, and annoying camera angles, there's also the ridiculous ending that sees you defeating almost every character in the game. There is still plenty of good to Onimusha Dawn of Dreams, including some likable characters, unique enemies, and some fun exploration. Titled something else, it would have a higher score, but with Onimusha attached, it is a long shot from the original trilogy. Onimusha Dawn of Dreams scores a 6.9 out of 10, making it an average game. Alright gamers and Onimusha fans, that's it. That's my final Onimusha review, and I hope you have enjoyed all of them. If you found this video by chance and you haven't yet, go back and check out my other Onimusha reviews because I think they're just as well done as this video is, and you'll get a really great sense of the entire Onimusha series before the new game comes out. But I want to hear from those who've played Onimusha Dawn of Dreams. Do you agree with my takes? Do you agree about the 9 boss battles being way too long at the end, or that the game felt cheaply made? Or on the other hand, do you love this game? Let me know why you love this game, or why it's better than some of the other games in the series. I'd love to hear from everyone. Alright, while you're there, don't forget to like this video and of course subscribe to my channel because it really helps me grow and I appreciate it. Gamers, thanks for watching, and make sure you play a video game today.